The tension in the galaxy grew heavier with each passing day. In the great halls of alien empires, leaders argued and shouted, fearful of what humanity might do next. Some demanded immediate attacks, others urged caution, but all agreed on one thing: humans could no longer be ignored. On Earth, life continued as normal for most people, unaware of the storm gathering in the dark skies above. Grant remained isolated, hidden from the public, watched closely by military officials. They treated him like a dangerous weapon they didn't fully understand. Some of his own people admired him, calling him a hero, a legend. Others feared him, whispering that he might be something more than human. But Grant himself stayed silent, carrying a growing unease inside him. Late at night, when the station lights dimmed and the stars outside the window looked too sharp, too close, he felt it, something watching him, something far beyond human or alien. One night, as he drifted into uneasy sleep, he had a strange dream. In the dream, a figure stood before him, ancient and human-like, but wrapped in the shadows of time. The figure spoke in a voice older than the stars, warning Grant that the slap had awakened forces that should have remained buried. Greater predators, hidden from the galaxy for ages, had felt the shift. They were coming, drawn by the scent of fear and change. Grant woke up with a start, the warning still burning in his mind. Somewhere out there, in the endless black, something worse than Zhyrrak had already begun to move toward humanity. Without warning, colonies on the edge of human space started to disappear. Entire settlements, millions of people were simply gone without a trace. No wreckage, no distress signals, nothing left behind except silence. Fear spread faster than any message. Ships stopped traveling, trade routes were abandoned, and even the bravest captains refused to venture into the dark. Earth's leaders scrambled for answers, but there were none. Scientists and soldiers studied every signal, every piece of data, and found only one terrible truth: something was hunting them. Grant still kept away from the public, felt the growing fear deep in his bones. He knew this was the enemy the ancient figure had warned him about. It was not made of flesh and bone like Zhyrrak. It was something older, something that fed on the very emotion humans had let loose across the stars: fear. They called it the hunger, though no name could truly describe it. It moved unseen, silent, and unstoppable, growing stronger with each frightened heartbeat across the galaxy. High Command begged Grant to help again, but he knew this time was different. Weapons would be useless. Strength alone would not save them. He had to find a new way, something that would strike at the heart of this ancient predator. As worlds continued to fall into darkness, Grant prepared himself for a final stand, knowing that this battle would not be won with fists or weapons, but with the one thing the hunger could not feed on: fearless hope. Grant stood alone on a silent battlefield, a forgotten moon far from any human colony, waiting. Around him, the darkness seemed to breathe, heavy and alive. He felt the hunger moving closer, invisible but terrible, a presence that tried to crush his spirit before even showing itself. Ships circled above, broadcasting across the galaxy, sending the final stand of humanity to every corner of space. Billions watched in silence, their fear feeding the monster. But Grant did not feel fear. He remembered the dream, the ancient warning, and understood at last. The hunger was not a creature of strength. It was a creature of belief. It fed on the fear people created in their own minds. It grew stronger because they believed it could not be beaten. So Grant did the one thing no one expected. As the darkness reached for him, as the air grew cold and thin, Grant laughed. He laughed loudly, boldly, fearlessly. His laughter broke across the silent moon, carried by the broadcasts to every terrified heart across the stars. At first, people watched in confusion, but then, one by one, humans began to laugh too. Soldiers, colonists, leaders, even children, they laughed through their fear. They mocked the hunger, showing it they were not afraid. The darkness around Grant trembled, shuddered, and began to break apart. The hunger screamed, not in rage, but in terror, and in a blinding flash of light, it dissolved into nothingness. Humanity had won not with weapons or strength, but with courage. And Grant, the man who had once slapped a monster, became a legend whose name would never be forgotten among the stars. In the far future, when humanity had only just started to explore the endless galaxy, a dark name echoed through the stars: Zhyrrak. It was a creature spoken about only in whispers, a monster that had erased entire worlds from existence overnight. No one had ever survived its attacks. No weapon had harmed it. No shield had stopped it. Fear gripped every colony, every station, every brave explorer who heard its name. "Stay away," the older races warned. "Stay hidden," the survivors said. But humans were curious and humans were proud. They sent a small team of explorers to a dead planet where Zhyrrak was said to roam. It was a cold, broken world, with no life, no color, only silence and dust. The team landed, their ship sinking slightly into the ash-covered ground. As they stepped out, the air felt heavy, as if it knew something terrible was near. Suddenly, out of the darkness, Zhyrrak appeared. It was massive, its body covered in dark armor-like skin, its eyes glowing with pure hatred. It moved slowly toward them, each step shaking the ground. The team froze, weapons useless in their hands. There was no chance of running, no hope of rescue. Death was coming. But among them was a soldier named Grant, a quiet man who never spoke much. As Zhyrrak closed in, Grant did something no one could have imagined. He walked forward, calm and fearless, raised his hand, and slapped the monster across the face. A thick silence followed, stretching across the empty world. Then, as if the universe itself had paused, Zhyrrak stumbled backwards and fell to the ground with a heavy crash, unmoving. For a long moment, no one moved. The wind blew softly across the dead planet, carrying with it the dust of 1,000 forgotten battles. The exploration team stared in disbelief at the massive body lying before them. Zhyrrak, the destroyer of civilizations, the nightmare of 100 worlds, had fallen from a simple human slap. Their weapons hung uselessly at their sides, forgotten. Fear had been replaced by pure shock. They waited, half expecting the creature to rise in a rage and tear them apart. But Zhyrrak did not move. It lay still, a silent mountain of flesh and armor, defeated. The humans looked at Grant, their faces full of confusion and fear, but Grant only shrugged, as if what he had done was nothing special. Far away, hidden among the stars, alien watchers observed through secret probes. Across the galaxy, powerful races who had once ruled without challenge saw the recordings. The impossible had happened. Messages rushed through the dark networks of the universe, spreading faster than light. Who were these humans, they asked. What secret weapon had they used? Panic grew in hidden empires. Fear twisted into anger and dread. Meanwhile, Grant stood alone, looking down at Zhyrrak's fallen form, feeling something strange stir deep inside him. The others rushed to their ship, shouting for him to follow, their voices full of panic. The stars had changed that day. Somewhere, unseen eyes turned toward Earth, hungry and afraid, wondering if the universe had just met its next great danger. The team escaped the dead planet quickly, their ship rising through the thick gray clouds, leaving the body of Zhyrrak behind like a dark stain on the ground. No one spoke on the way back. Fear still clung to them, but it was a new kind of fear, a fear of the unknown. When they reached human space, they were ordered to silence. Grant was separated from the others and taken to a hidden station far from Earth. There, high commanders and scientists questioned him again and again. They checked his body, his mind, his past. But Grant had no answers to give. He had no secret power, no strange weapon. He had simply acted without fear. He told them, in his quiet voice, that Zhyrrak was big, strong, terrifying, but not unstoppable. While humans tried to understand what had happened, the galaxy watched them carefully. Across distant stars, Alien races who once ruled without question now whispered in fear of humanity. They wondered if Earth had hidden technologies, terrible weapons beyond understanding. Some believed humans had awakened an ancient power. Some believed it was magic. Others decided they could not take the risk. Quietly, fleets of warships began to gather in the shadows of space. Hidden agents were sent to spy on Earth. Every empire prepared for war, thinking that if the humans were not destroyed now, they would soon become rulers of the galaxy. But what none of them knew was that something far worse than Zhyrrak had started to move, something ancient and hungry, drawn by the sudden ripple of fear and change in the stars.